What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and yes, there is actually something going on in the world outside of the rings of power. By the way, live stream, Sydney Watson, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on this channel. We're going to be talking about rings of power. We're going to be talking about the Queen. We're going to be talking about some woke college stuff. I'd love to see you there right here. Come back, 5 o'clock on the channel. Now, Elon, of course, has been trying to get out of his deal with Twitter for quite some time, and some people think he's trying to get out of it. Some people think he's trying to renegotiate the deal. I'm all over the place. You know, I'm pretty sure that the deal is just dead now. Like it's over. But today he had a pretty spicy victory. To be honest with you, Elon scores a big win in court battle against Twitter. A judge ruled on Wednesday Elon Musk can use evidence from the Twitter whistleblower in his legal case against the social media company. Twitter is currently battling Musk in court over his attempt to back out of the previous offer to buy the company for $44 billion. Musk claims that the true number of fake accounts on the platform could number as high as 33%, rather than the company's reported 5%, with a lower number of monetizable daily active users potentially justifying a much lower valuation. A trial to determine the status of the acquisition deal is scheduled for October 17th. I don't believe this ever goes to trial. I don't think that. I think that there's lots of information that Twitter does not want out there. And I probably think that there's information that Elon Musk does not want out there either. I can't see this going into some kind of lengthy trial. I would assume they settle long before that. But I suppose you never know. Although she did not amend the date of the trial, Delaware Chancery Court Chancellor Kathleen McCormick granted attorneys representing Musk's permission to use the account of a former Twitter executive, Peter Zatko, who claimed in a recent whistleblower account that his colleagues did not have the resources or motivation necessary to determine the number of bots on the platform. In their arguments, Twitter reported losses of 8 cents per share in its second quarter earnings, falling below the 14-cent gain per share as expected by analysts. The rough quarter was attributed to advertising industry headwinds associated with the macro environment, as well as the uncertainty related to pending acquisition of Twitter by an affiliate of Elon Musk, the company said. Well, I can tell you here on YouTube, you know, the earnings are way down, 30%, 40% for the same number of views. In fact, you know, I'm not going to like complain about it, but like I have, you know, many more views now than I did 3 months ago, but the earnings are about 2/3 what they were. So I can certainly see, you know, advertisers rolling back spend for sure. And of course, Twitter losing money doesn't help. But if you actually look at the Twitter stock, it's pretty steady. I'm starting to think that people in Wall Street must think that the deal's going to get done, and that it's going to get done somewhere around $40, because there's really no. I mean, the stock's gone up nearly 10% in the last 5 days, even with it losing money. Earlier this year, Twitter joined other technology companies in attempting to cut costs by pausing hiring and reducing office space on multiple continents. The company's stock price has fallen from $64.98 1 year ago to $41.22, marking a 40% decline. However, shares rose over 6% following McCormick's decision to avoid moving the trial. During court procedures Tuesday, Twitter lawyer revealed that Musk had texted Michael Grimes, a managing director at investment bank of Morgan Stanley, on May 8th to express fears about Russia and its potential effects on the global economy. Let's slow down just a few days. A speech, you know, Russia's speech is tomorrow, and it's extremely important. It wouldn't make sense to buy Twitter if we're heading into World War III. This text could potentially place Musk in a breach of contract, which requires the buyer to use his best effort to complete the deal, and could work against his claim that an inaccurate bot account was behind the hesitancy, according to the report. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I suppose it could. I mean, Twitter will most certainly argue that. But I don't know. I guess it's difficult to say. You know, they still have to prove it. And certainly if the bots aren't what they said what they promised. I think if they believe that Elon Musk is going to be able to prove that in court, this literally cannot go to trial. It can't. Because if that got out, the ripple effect could be, I don't know, unimaginable. Like, I'm not sure. I mean, the SEC would be involved. All their investors would collapse the company. So if Twitter is confident that he could prove that, this looks bad. The whistleblower report, which was obtained by CNN and the Washington Post, also claimed that Twitter leadership misled board members and government officials about potential vulnerabilities that left the platform open to hacking, foreign manipulation, and spying. He asserted that one or more current employees are working for foreign intelligence agencies. All engineers had access. There was no logging of who went in the environment and what they did, Zacko wrote. Nobody knew where data lived or whether it was critical, and all engineers had some form of critical access to the production environment. Now, I don't think that makes much of a difference. Like, I don't think that really, it looks bad for Twitter, but I don't think that helps Elon's, wanting to get out of the deal. But also, Disney's Bob Iger chimes in, who also backed out of buying Twitter, says lots of users were bots. Bob Iger said Disney determined in 2016 that a substantial portion of Twitter users were bots, which led it to discount Twitter's value. Tesla CEO Elon Musk's excuse, and I'm sure now that that's out in the news, like Elon's going to want to get a hold of that data. In an interview at Code Conference, Iger went into detail on why he decided to back out of the potential acquisition back in 2016. Many points he touched on were not new. At that time, Disney was looking for a distribution platform to get into streaming. Twitter seemed like a great fit. However, the level of nastiness on Twitter did not mesh well with the entertainment company's squeaky clean brand, and acquiring it seemed like more trouble than it was worth. Iger dropped, however, a new nugget of information he hadn't spoke about before, one that quickly caught the attention of the richest man in the world: bots. Quote, interestingly enough, because I read the news these days, we did look very carefully at all the Twitter users. I guess that's what they're called, users. And we had, at that point, estimated with some of Twitter's help that a substantial portion, not a majority, were not real. Well, when you say substantial portion, that's not less than 5%. I don't remember the number. Yes, he does. But we discounted the value heavily. But that was built into our economics. Actually, the deal we had was pretty cheap. Gizmodo reached out to Musk's lawyers about Iger's comments, but did not receive a response at the time of publication. However, Musk, meanwhile, ever active on Twitter, did respond to a tweet about the CEO's remarks late Wednesday, writing, interesting. Iger's comments are no doubt welcome news to Musk and his team, who are claiming that Twitter lied about how many bots are on its platform in an attempt to wiggle out of the deal. While Twitter states that less than 5% of its monthly active users are fake, Musk claims that number is significantly higher. The two parties are fighting it out over the future in the acquisition deal in Delaware's Chancery Court. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I would say that that's a pretty spicy victory for him. If he is able to get the price of the shares down in the 40s, I think it just makes more sense. If he's able to get out of the deal altogether, I think a lot of us can just abandon Twitter outright, move on. I don't see Twitter as a net positive anymore in my life. Contacting people, I don't really need it to know what's going on in the news. I would like to spend more time in my Gilded server, which is like an alternative to Discord. It's always linked in my descriptions. If you're looking for a place to like chat, I'd like to spend more time there talking to people. Getter, Truth, Gab, all these things are not really viable alternatives, but they're there, they exist. And there's going to be more. And if Twitter doesn't sell to Elon, it's just going to get way worse than it ever was. It's not going to get better. And it's always going to be like this just toxic cesspool. So yeah, interesting little bit nugget of news. Hopefully this means that at this point, I think I just want Elon out of it. I want him to fix my Starlink and make it faster. But we'll have to wait and see. I look forward to hopefully seeing all of you. There's a little reminder. If you go under my videos tab, you'll see a I think a reminder for the live stream at 5 o'clock or 5:05. I would really love to see you there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on it, click that red subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.